ask you more questions. All right. We are live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy new month. Happy new quarter. Happy new second half of the year. Dr. Benton here. I help people live long and well because I believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. If you are watching live, you know the drill. Hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. I know I say I'm excited all the time when I come here about this topic and yada, 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 but this topic is very near and dear to my heart. We're talking about how to live with hope in the face of depression. And our guest today is someone I really admire and respect. I love her work. And I love the things she does. She's Dr. Crystal Nelson. I'm going to give her a second to introduce herself, but I want to thank her live for giving us the privilege to glean from her this evening because I know she's busy. So thank you, Doc, for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It worked out well. I love when I can talk from my house.
All right, true talk, true talk. All right, so Doc, can you kindly introduce yourself to us? Who are you? What you do, and why you do what you do?
Okay, so my name is Dr. Crystal Nelson. I'm a board certified psychiatrist. I'm the CEO and owner of Blueprint Psychiatry. My practice is in Noonan, Georgia, which is a suburb outside of Atlanta, Georgia. We service clients from probably the youngest 6 years old all the way till 99 years old in our practice. And we treat all areas of mental health from depression, anxiety, schizophrenia to bipolar disorder, the whole works with various treatments, not just medication. We do some kind of outside of the box stuff, ketamine and transcranial magnets to treat depression, all kinds of exciting things. But why I do what I do, that I like that question because I just like a lot of docs, finished and I was working for other people. And in mental health in particular, I went into mental health because it felt personal. And then as I started working in mental health, it was not personal. It became just write a script, move, move, write a script, move, move. And so why I do what I do in my practice is because I want to service people with dignity. I want to bring dignity to treating patients with mental health. So that's why I do what I do. Outside of all the other things, I speak, write, and mom, wife, whatever else. I'm trying to cut things down, but it's a lot of things, but all for the same goal of servicing people, being a servant to others.
I love it. I love it. And Dr. Nelson, she downplaying her stuff. She's cool. She's a big deal. She's a top doctor. She's been on CNN. She's been on the World Wide Web. She's everywhere, spreading the good news of taking care of patients and their mental health. So she champions that cause very well on and off screen. So big shout out to you, Doc. I'm gonna stop. It's obvious I'm a big fan, so I'm gonna stop though, so we can focus on why we're here. So let's talk about depression. So real quickly, signs of depression that people should be aware of, and then we'll go to the meat of the subject.
Okay. So signs of depression, I mean, it could be a broad range. It could be one of the key words I will say with signs of depression is think persistence. So we're all going to have mood changes. We're all going to have sad, happy, all of the range of emotions, but think persistent. So I am persistently sad. I'm persistently having trouble with sleeping too much, sleeping too little, persistently feeling hopeless, helpless, persistently, having confusion or concentration issues. I'm, persistently having low energy. The other thing I think sometimes gets missed is anxiety. Anxiety can be a component in being depressed. Also, irritability or anger. So there is confusion that depression has to be sadness. And sometimes, especially for certain populations, it may be anger, irritability, but it's persistent. It's not, I felt that way today, but then by the end of the day, I pulled it together and I felt fine. But every day I am feeling this way and not being able to function in multiple areas of my life. So it's touching multiple areas, my
Mhm.
home, my work, my family, all of those things. So you have to look at it in that context. I think it seems like I would say lately, people want to define a mood swing as depression, or and you have to think on a broader term that this is something that's lasting for a period. This is not
Mhm.
something you're shaking off because you went to the beach. It's not going to
Mhm.
change because you changed the environment.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you. And I like that you classified it as persistent. That's a key component of the diagnosis as well. My next question to you is this. So you talked about, yes, we have our lows, and I have someone here who's watching who's like, you know what, I like the idea of hope in the face of depression. When we say hope in the face of depression, what does that mean to you as a clinician when you're dealing with your patients? What would you say to someone who's depressed and looking for hope? Um,
yeah, hope is a big deal because hope is really what drives us all. And so one of the components of depression is people start to feel hopeless that
mm,
things won't change. And the truth is, everything always changes. So if finding just that little glimmer of hope that the next moment could be a little bit better, the next day could be a little bit better, can get you through those moments. And it's funny because I didn't know we would talk about hope. And I share with you guys, I'm an author. That is the chapter of the book that I'm writing. It is called Borrowing Hope,
wow.
because sometimes you can't find it on your own. You might have to borrow it. And that's why you might need good healthcare professionals around you, because your clinician might say, let's try this and give it 6 weeks. Let's give it 4 weeks. Borrow your clinician's hope, borrow your family's hope, borrow someone else's until you can get there. So, most of the time, in order to do that, you just need patience because it will change. Everything changes, nothing stays static. And so I tell my clients that all the time. If you can just borrow a little bit of my hope until you get your own, just hang with me, be
Mm,
patient, and so that we can get to the next day and the next day and the next day until we can start to see the change. Because change is slow, growth is slow,
yeah.
not fast. We want things to be fast, but this is one of those things not fast. I was just recently this past weekend at a spa, and I took a class, and one of the things that the guy said, I thought it was so good. He said, "Let your winters be your winter." He said, "In wintertime, you don't put your spring clothes on. It doesn't make winter go by faster. Spring is going to come after winter. It always does. But just let your winter be your winter." So sometimes you have to just be patient. You just have to sit in it for a bit. It will change. And
Mm,
then you bring in the people that can help you get through that, whether it be healthcare professionals like myself or your family, your friends, your church. You get your support system in the winter, but sometimes it's just your winter, and it's okay. It'll change.
wow. Let your winter.
Yeah.
Let's go winter. And I like how, well, I mean, the word is not like, I appreciate the truth of the slow process,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we like the quick, we like the let's do this so we can snap out of this. But it's a process, and I like that you share that you could borrow hope for someone who's watching. Is like, yeah, I'm in the slow. Are there, I mean, yes, reaching out to your community, speak to a physician like yourself and asking, for medications and treatment options. What are other things that one can do in the slow? Self-care tips, like what are things in the day-to-day they can use to add to the hope and to help during the slow?
Yeah. One is to just define really tiny little goals. I created a workbook. Those were questions patients would ask me all the time. They would say, "Okay, hey doc, I'm in my treatment, but what do I do? Like, what do I do every day?" People want to know what to do. And you can just do one thing. If I define one thing that I can do today, then I have made progress. So I created this workbook where it was full of exercises. And it might be, today you're going to turn on the radio, find a song you like and dance. Just one
Hmm.
thing. And that's progress. And so then you can say, today, I'm a little bit better than I was yesterday. Because really, happiness is that I'm making progress. And so just define an action. I'm going to take a warm bath today. I'm going to do that for myself today. That takes you all of, 20 minutes. And when you get out of the tub, you might still be depressed, but you made an effort to move forward and create some momentum. Because getting out of depression, which is static, it feels static, you have to create some momentum. So really, it is just one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, and all of that compounds. You and I both are in business school and Entre in business school, and Dr. Una talks about that, the compounding effect of
Mm.
when you are just doing one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, and then you get the snowball. You get a compounding effect. It's no different for anything. It's not different for depression or anything. It's one thing consistently. The thing about us human beings, though, we get bored. We don't like to do the little thing, the little boring thing every day. We don't want to. We want to do the big thing and we change it right away. And it doesn't work like that when you're dealing with something as significant and as difficult as depression or any other mental illness. It is the boring things. It might be just take my medication, take a walk today. What if I did that for 30 days? Guaranteed 30 days you're gonna feel better
Mm.
than
Mm.
you did on the first day. But you might not feel that on the third day. So it's just doing those things and starting with the one little thing and keep going. Another thing I probably would add is environment. You know, it's really difficult to be in a good mood or in a good space if your environment isn't supporting that. And,
Mm.
and sometimes that again makes a difference. I will have clients and they are dealing with, of course, depression and other things. And I will tell them to change their environment. Get up, go to the park, get up, go somewhere. I had one client that I saw for many, many years, and she had a beach house in Florida. And she would rent the beach house out in the wintertime because she would make the most money. People would go to Florida to her beach house. But in the wintertime, she would be here in Georgia getting seasonal depression. And I said,
Ah.
what if you start renting the beach house out in winter? You go to the beach house in winter. And she started going to the beach house in winter. She says, oh, my depression wasn't that bad this past winter. And I said, yeah, it's not a lot of people being too depressed and crying on the beach because
Hmm.
your senses are flooded with something. So just changing your environment sometimes can change what you think. And then that can also change, of course, how we all feel. So those are just little tips that you can do. And we can all do that anytime. You don't have to go to the beach. You can walk outside your front door. You can get up from your desk and walk outside. You can walk to another room. You can always do those little small things despite what's going on.
Now, one of the pushback I get sometimes when I have this conversation, is, well, I don't feel like it, Doc. I don't feel like
Well,
it.
right, right. And the fastest way to change how you feel is some action.
I like that.
If you're waiting to feel first, then act, well, then we might not get there. Act, then check in on how you feel. Again, and I do a lot of trying to have people, do things where they can immerse themselves and make themselves move. I had a client who lost his mother, and he was telling me, I don't, Dr. Nelson, I just can't get out of the bed. I said, yes, you can. He said, no, you don't understand. I can't get out of the bed. I said, is it a remote control of your bed? He said, yeah. I said, get that remote control, turn the TV on, turn the TV up to the highest volume that TV can go, and throw the remote control in the floor. See how long you can lay in the bed. He started laughing at me. He started laughing because it's going to make you get out of bed. In that few moments, the TV was annoying to you. You were not depressed, you were annoyed. Now you're out of the bed. So if you can do it for 30 seconds, then all we need to do is slowly start to shrink 30 seconds into a minute, 2 minutes,
Hmm.
5 minutes, 10 minutes. And we just start. That's what I mean by the little things. So you absolutely can. But you can't go from depression to bliss, not legally anyway.
Huh.
That's all illegal as far as I know. But you can go from depressed to anger to annoyed to another. You can start moving out of a feeling into another one by changing environment or adding a little bit of action. So yes, you can.
Yes, you can. I like that. Act, and that would change the feel. Don't wait. I like that's powerful. Act, make a move.
Yeah,
Simple, very simple, but powerful. Now,
yeah.
Doc, you had mentioned changing your environment. So we talked about it from a cynic point of view. Go outside, go to the beach if you can. Um, are there tips for? I don't know because I sometimes the feedback I get is like, well, my family doesn't understand. They feel like I'm being weak or I feel I'm not. They don't understand how I feel, and so it's hard to create a support system in that sense. Are there any tips on how friends and family, like how a patient or client could have their friends or family support them?
Yeah, good question. So I mean, I definitely understand and I hear where patients are coming from when they say, my family or friends don't understand because sometimes they don't. And in order for someone to understand or for you to feel like someone understands, they have to be on the same be at that same energy level. So if they're not depressed or haven't experienced depression or the mental illness you may be dealing with, maybe they don't understand. And what I will share to my clients is you don't need them to understand. It's not for them to understand.
Hmm.
So let go of that. So we don't necessarily need to have the family understand, but you can still create an environment that is supportive, even if your family is not supportive. And it's probably easier now than ever because we have what we're doing right now. We have access to everyone. A lot of times we do it without conscious thought, but my
Hmm.
social media is in my environment. My YouTube that I watch is in my environment. If I turn
Hmm.
the news on, that's in my environment. So cater your environment. If your family is a negative environment and you can't leave your house and move, what are you listening to on TV? What are you watching? What are you looking on social media? Fill it with what you want it to be. Are you listening to motivational talks? Everything that you watch on YouTube for the whole month needs to be about the support you might need.
Hmm.
So we can change our environment so much easier than ever. If
Wow.
I wanted to be around motivation all day, well, I could easily look up 25 motivational speakers on YouTube and listen to that all day if I wanted to. That would be the equivalent of listening to my family say negativity. Put my
Hmm.
AirPods in and listen to positivity. So you can. Ideally, of course, you would not want to be in the household
Right.
with that negative family environment, but sometimes you can't change that immediately. So take the focus off of that. That is really where that anxiety and that depression really gets revved up because you can't control that. But what you can control is this. So moving over to what can I control in my environment? I can create. If some of my teenagers, I'll say, if you only have your room, fill your room with what makes you feel good. Make sure it's the right color. Make sure you got the right music playing in the background. Maybe you're only watching things on television that make you laugh. You can control that room, which is still powerful.
Hmm.
So don't let things in that you're not really being aware of. And I think that is also, of course, we have a big problem right now with that in society. So much influence coming in, dropping seeds, and we're not really tending to that garden very well. So now, I watch CNN and Fox at 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock, and now I'm laying in the bed and I can't sleep. Turn it off. Turn it off.
I love it.
Yeah.
You can curate the environment that you so desire. You can.
Yeah.
We have control. We have actually more control now than before. Thank you for that expose, Doc. Um, man, nah, that was good. I love your can do attitude, and it's not a come on, you can do it. It's here's a little step you could make here and
Yeah.
here and here and here, and you see the difference in time. Um, I have someone who's asking a very good question. She says,
Mhm.
"Hi, Mr. Nisha," and she says, "Hello, Dr. O and Dr. Nelson. Is it true that procrastination can be a symptom of depression? What are your thoughts, Doc?"
Yeah, yeah, it can be definitely. Um, it can be a symptom of some other mental illness outside of depression too. But especially if it's about something that you don't want to do. One of the things with depression is, I have this life that I'm in, and then I have this life that I want, and they don't match.
Hmm.
And so the body's sending me a signal to say this sucks,
Hmm.
because this is life over here that I want. And so in order to get from the life that I don't want to the life that I do want, there's an action step. I have to do something. And so when it's very unclear as to what's the life that I really want, and that's not very well defined, or the action step to do what you think you're supposed to do, you will procrastinate. Because most of us don't procrastinate when we really define something we really want. We got desire and passion about it. Most people, even patients, I'll make patients laugh because they'll say I'm depressed. I say, okay, so what if I'm paying, I'm picking you up, I'm paying for everything. I'm gonna come pick you up. Where you want to go? They'll come up with a place. Could you be packed in an hour? So it might not be depressed. Is it desire?
Hmm.
So if I'm gonna go from depression or to something better, and kind of clear up some of that procrastination, I really have to define, what do I want? Do you really want it? Is the first question. If you're procrastinating, do you really want it? Do you really want the outcome? Do you really want to do it? Because most of us will procrastinate on something, and it's usually what we don't want to do. When vacation comes, we don't tend to procrastinate. When something good comes along, we get it done, right?
Hmm.
It's if we can't really clearly see what that action is going to take us towards, and if we really can't define if it's really a reward. Yeah. Procrastination is another one for that the person who asked that question. Procrastination can also definitely be in things like attention deficit disorder, other mental illnesses. Not that you can have both. So you can have depression and anxiety and attention deficit disorder. So procrastination can be one that you can see in quite a bit of mental health diagnoses.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the answer to that question. And as we wrap up, time has flown. I wanted you, could you share success stories of clients you've worked with, and, the shift they were able to make from one end of, depression to things they were able to accomplish when they got the care they need. And I'm doing this, I'm asking this question just to paint a picture for our viewers that it is possible to get out of this and get the help, and there are beautiful things possible on the other side of this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have so many at this point. Um, and that is probably the thing. Most people, when they are depressed, because depression takes you so much inward that you think you're the only person going through this, that nobody else is going through this, or they don't. They may be depressed, but not like me. And this is not to offend anyone. You are not that unique, and that you're the only person to ever have experienced what you're experiencing. Other people have experienced that and come out of it. I have had so many clients where they have had stories that they tell me that break my heart. I have one of the clients that led me to doing the transcranial magnetic stimulation we do for the treatment of depression. This was a client, she was a nurse, and her daughter committed suicide in front of her. Her daughter shot herself right in front of her mother,
Oh my
and
God.
it was absolutely heartbreaking. And she, I mean, as you can imagine, significant depression, unable to work for many, many years as a nurse. We tried lots of medications. I mean, she would get sort of a little bit above the depression, but not getting into remission. And when transcranial magnetic stimulation became available, it was a new treatment where it was using magnets to treat depression, I said, "Well, you've tried everything. Let's try it." She was open to trying it, and I will never forget. I had seen this woman for over 6 years, and she went through the treatment. And she says, "Have I ever told you about my daughter? All the years that she had been talking to me, she'd only been telling me about the day her daughter died. She was literally stuck right there in that moment when her daughter killed herself. And then she started talking to me about her daughter, and she's smiling and she's talking about her child now, because her daughter had a whole life other than that one day that
Mm.
her life ended, and she was able to get back to work as a nurse. She came off of all antidepressants. To this day, this lady is not on any antidepressants. She has not needed to go back for any more TMS. She's working as a nurse.
Well,
But it was an extreme, case. But just like we talked about at the beginning of this, she had to just stay the course. She had to stay the course and keep trying. I mean, when we first started talking, TMS didn't exist.
mm, mm,
So sometimes that might be the case for you, someone who's dealing with depression. Maybe the medication that's going to give you your remission doesn't exist yet, but it's coming out in October. If you give up now, you will miss your treatment in October. So you just have to stay the course. And so define again, what do you really want? And when you want to be well, you want to be well. And you're not stopping until you get well. And that was at least one thing that this lady had in her favor. But so many situations like that where, even for me hearing the story, I think, gosh, I don't know if I could pull out of that. How, man.
mm,
And I think
mm.
people stay the course, and we find the right treatment for them, and they get better. That the one thing with psychiatry and mental health, definitely anybody who's ever tried to be treated, it's a long process sometimes in psychiatry. You got to go into it with that mindset that I'm going in this to get my results, to get my wellness, because it might be a little bit of trial and error to find what fits you. That part is unique about us. It's not a one size fits all. And so we have to find the right fit for the person with the tools we have. But stay the course. If you want wellness, it's for you. It is for you. I have not met a person yet that I think they cannot be well. They just got to hang with us sometimes till we find what works for them.
Awesome. So you never give up the fight to wellness
No.
mentally. In other
Yeah.
words, I love it. Have a very, very good question here. And
Yeah.
Doc, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'd love to have you back in a couple of months. No pressure.
Okay.
You're live, by the way, still. And we could do one for teens. So depression teens, because I feel like you'd be a very good one to have to talk about how to handle that from a parent perspective.
Yeah.
Because
I've been
this
through
whole
those years. I had a teen daughter, had patience, and then I had my own teen and took me through some things. So I can talk to you about that.
Yes, I have a parent here that looks like asking, say, any tips for parents when kids say, "You don't know what I'm going through."
Yeah. If my husband heard this question, and he might be listening, he would probably say your scripted answer, because he answers the phone sometimes, and so he'll say this: tell your child you're right. You don't. You don't know what your child is going through. You and I do not know what it feels like to be a teenager in 2024. You do not have a clue what your child is going through. So they are right. So don't tell them that you do. Don't tell them, oh, I've been a teenager before. Oh, I've been a kid before. You were not in 2024.
Hmm.
So you just tell your kid that I don't know what you're going through, but I will do my absolute best to partner with you to find answers. So
Right.
you partner with them. That's it. Because they will we hear this literally all the time. Parents call about that. They don't the kid my child says they don't know what I'm going through. You don't. I don't know what it is like to be a teenager in 2024 where you have social media, internet influences coming from left and right, images from the time you've been born of what you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to look, what you're supposed to do. I don't know what that feels like. You don't know what that feels like, that pressure. So what they are going through is real. And you might not understand it, but work with them. Help them find the answers. That's all you need to do. That's all we ever need to really do as parents. We're there for guidance, but the day that you and I would have had kids, I mean, my goodness, we didn't get the manual download on how to raise them. We don't know. We are trying to figure it out and partner with our children and get the right answers for them as the individual. And so that's it. So I would say you can end that conversation with your kid really quickly.
I love it. I love the shift. It's not about saying, no, no, I get it. I've been there. It's like, okay, how can I help? How can I help you? How can I partner with you
Yeah,
so we can
and
move
it's a
forward?
collaboration. Make sure that your child knows you're collaborating with them. It's a partnership because you can't fix that for them. That's their life journey. If they're dealing with depression or anxiety, it's not like they may only deal with it when they're 14, 15. They may deal with that at 25, 35, 45. So you're going to need to collaborate with your child to find what works for them. You might take this medication, it works for you. You might walk, it works for you. Your child might need something else. Your child might need a different medication, no medication, a different diet. You need to figure out what works for your child. So you're just collaborating with your child to figure out what works for them.
Wow, Doc, that was powerful. We're at 7 o'clock. This went by really quickly. I learned a lot of things, and I know my viewers did as well. Thank you so much for doing this. But
You're
I have to people
welcome.
watching. Like, I want to follow this doc. I want to know more about her. I want to maybe have her come speak. I want to see if she has content I can kind of binge on. Doc, where can people find you?
So you guys can follow me on Instagram at doctors dr Dr. Crystal Nelson on Instagram. But you can also just go to my webpage for my practice. It has a way that you can connect with me, www.blueprintpsychiatry.com. That you can get easy access to any content I've put out, books, information. If you want to request me for anything, you can go there.
Awesome. So I'm putting that on the bottom of the screen for those of you who are on Facebook and on YouTube. She's on Instagram as well. Um, and so I want to make sure, sorry, that this is on here. Okay, good. So you guys can also look at the bottom of the screen to follow her. She's on Facebook too as well. Doc, thank you so much. This was rich.
Thank you.
Some of us need to go watch this again and take more notes and share this with people who could use this encouragement even during this season of their lives. Thank you so much, Dr. Nelson. You rock.
Thank you for inviting me and keeping me from having to leave my house to talk. I got to talk from home today. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And I look forward to doing this again. I'll send you an invite. Maybe in a couple of months, we'll do a part two, a teenager version.
Yeah,
Teenage
yeah.
version. I think that would be helpful. All right. Those of you who are watching, thank you so much for watching live and watching replay. As always, caring is sharing. I have a quick favor to ask. Please like, subscribe, share, forward. Okay. This lets the good news of hope in the face of depression spread on the globe, World Wide Web. And as always, if you or anyone you know is looking for a thorough and a caring family physician in the Mansfield, Texas area, who will have conversations like this to help you live long and well, I am she. Thanks again, Doc. This was good.
Bye
This was
bye. Thank
good.
you.
Bye.